All that I consist of is either form or matter. No corruption can reduce either of these unto nothing. For neither did I of nothing become a subsistent creature. Every part of mine then will by mutation be disposed into a certain part of the whole world, and that in time into another part. And so in infinitum, by which kind of mutation I also became what I am. And so did they that begot me, and they before them. And so upwards in infinitum, for so we may be allowed to speak, though the age and government of the world be to some certain periods of time limited and confined. Reason and rational power are faculties which content themselves with themselves in their own proper operations. And as for their first inclination and motion, that they take from themselves, but their progress is right to the end, an object, which is in their way, as it were, and lieth just before them. That is, which is feasible and possible, whether it be that which at the first they propose to themselves or no. For which reason also such actions are termed de jussies, to intimate the directness of the way by which they are achieved. Nothing must be thought to belong to a man, which doth not belong unto him as he is a man. These, the event of purposes, are not things required in a man. The nature of man doth not profess any such things. The vital ends and consummations of actions are nothing at all to a man's nature. The end therefore of a man, or the summum bonum, whereby that end is fulfilled, cannot consist in a consummation of actions purposed and intended. Again, concerning these outward worldly things, were it so that any of them did properly belong unto man, then would it not belong unto man to condemn them and to stand in opposition with them. Neither would he be praiseworthy that can live without them, or he good. If these were good indeed, who of his own accord doth deprive himself of any of them? But we see, contrariwise, that the more a man doth withdraw himself from these wherein external pomp and greatness doth consist, or any other like these, or the better he doth bear with the loss of these, the better he is accounted. Such as thy thoughts and ordinary cogitations are, such will thy mind be in time. For the soul doth, as it were, receive its tincture from the fancies and imaginations. Diet therefore, and thoroughly soak it with the assiduity of these cogitations. As for example, wheresoever thou mayest live, there it is in thy power to live well and happy. But thou mayest live at the court, there then also mayest thou live well and happy. Again, that which everything is made for, he is also made unto that, and cannot but naturally incline unto it. That which anything doth naturally incline unto, therein is his end, wherein the end of everything doth consist. Therein also doth his good and benefit consist. Society therefore is the proper good of a rational creature, for that we are made for society. It hath long since been demonstrated, or can any man make any question of this, that whatsoever is naturally worse and inferior is ordinarily subordinated to that which is better, and that those things that are best are made one for another, and those things that have souls are better than those that have none, and of those that have, those best that have rational souls. To desire things impossible is the part of a mad man, but it is a thing impossible that wicked man should not commit some such things. Neither doth anything happen to any man, which in the ordinary course of nature is natural unto him, doth not happen. Again, the same things happen unto others also. And truly, if either he that is ignorant that such a thing hath happened unto him, or he that is ambitious to be commended for his magnanimity, can be patient, and is not grieved, is it not a grievous thing that either ignorance or a vain desire to please and to be commended should be more powerful and effectual than true prudence? As for the things themselves, they touch not the soul, neither can they have any access unto it, neither can they of themselves any ways either affect it or move it. For she herself alone can affect and move herself, and according as the dogmata and opinions are, which she doth vouchsafe herself, so are those things which, as accessories, have any coexistence with her. After one consideration, man is nearest unto us, as we are bound to do them good and to bear with them. but as he may oppose any of our true proper actions, so man is unto me but as a thing indifferent, even as the sun or the wind, or some wild beast. By some of these it may be that some operation or other of mine may be hindered. However, of my mind and resolution itself, there can be no let or impediment, by reason of that ordinary constant both exception or reservation, wherewith it inclineth, and ready conversion of objects, from that which may not be, to that which may be, which in the prosecution of its inclinations as occasion serves, it doth observe. For by these the mind does turn and convert any impediment whatsoever to be her aim and purpose, so that what before was the impediment is now the principal object of her working, and that which before was in her way is now her readiest way. Honor that which is chiefest and most powerful in the world, and that is it, which makes use of all things, and governs all things. So also in thyself. Honor that which is chiefest and most powerful, and is of one kind in nature with that which we now spake of. For it is the very same, which being in thee, turneth all other things to its own use, and by whom also thy life is governed. That which doth not hurt the city itself, cannot hurt any citizen. This rule thou must remember to apply and make use of upon every conceit and apprehension of wrong. If the whole city be not hurt by this, neither am I certainly. And if the whole be not, why should I make it my private grievance? Consider rather what it is wherein he is overseeing that is thought to have done the wrong. Again, often meditate how swiftly all things that subsist, and all things that are done in the world, are carried away, and as it were conveyed out of sight. For both the substance themselves, we see as a flood, are in a continual flux, and all actions in a perpetual change, and the causes themselves, subject to 1,000 alterations. Neither is there anything almost that may ever be said to be now settled and constant. Next unto this, and which follows upon it, consider both the infiniteness of the time already past, and the immense vastness of that which is to come, wherein all things are to be resolved and annihilated. Art not thou then a very fool, who for these things art either puffed up with pride, or distracted with cares, or canst find in thy heart to make such moans as for a thing that would trouble thee for a very long time? Consider the whole universe, whereof thou art but a very little part, and the whole age of the world together, whereof but a short and very momentary portion is allotted unto thee, and all the fates and destinies together, of which how much is it that comes to thy part and share? Again, another doth trespass against me, let him look to that. He is master of his own disposition, and of his own operation. I, for my part, am in the meantime in possession of as much as the common nature would have me to possess, and that which mine own nature would have me do, I do. Let not that chief commanding part of thy soul be ever subject to any variation through any corporal, either pain or pleasure, neither suffer it to be mixed with these, but let it both circumscribe itself, and confine those affections to their own proper parts and members. But if at any time they do reflect and rebound upon the mind and understanding, as in an united and compacted body, it must needs. Then must thou not go about to resist sense and feeling, it being natural. However, let not thy understanding to this natural sense and feeling, which whether unto our flesh pleasant or painful, is unto us nothing properly, add an opinion of either good or bad, and all is well. To live with the gods, he liveth with the gods, who at all times affords unto them the spectacle of a soul, both contented and well pleased with whatsoever is afforded, or allotted unto her, and performing whatsoever is pleasing to that spirit, whom being part of himself Jove hath appointed to every man as his overseer and governor. Be not angry, neither with him whose breath, neither with him whose armholes are offensive. What can he do? Such is his breath naturally, and such are his armholes, and from such an effect, and such a smell must of necessity proceed. Oh, but the man sayest thou hath understanding in him, and might of himself know that he by standing near cannot choose but offend. And thou also, God bless thee, hast understanding. Let thy reasonable faculty work upon his reasonable faculty. Show him his fault, admonish him. If he hearken unto thee, thou hast cured him, and there will be no more occasion of anger, where there shall neither roarer be, nor harlot. Why so? As thou dost purpose to live, when thou hast retired thyself to some such place, where neither roarer nor harlot is, so mayest thou hear, and if they will not suffer thee, then mayest thou leave thy life rather than thy calling. But so is one that doth not think himself anyways wronged, only as one would say, here is a smoke, I will out of it. And what a great matter is this! Now till some such thing force me out, I will continue free. Neither shall any man hinder me to do what I will, and my will shall ever be by the proper nature of a reasonable and sociable creature, regulated and directed. That rational essence by which the universe is governed is for community and society, and therefore hath it both made the things that are worse for the best, and hath allied and knit together those which are best, as it were in an harmony. Seest thou not how it hath subordinated and coordinated, and how it hath distributed unto everything according to its worth? And those which have the preeminency and superiority above all, hath it united together into a mutual consent and agreement. How hast thou carried thyself hitherto towards the gods, towards thy parents, towards thy brethren, towards thy wife, towards thy children, towards thy masters, thy foster fathers, thy friends, thy domestics, thy servants? Is it so with thee, that hitherto thou hast neither by word or deed wronged any of them? Remember withal through how many things thou hast already passed, and how many thou hast been able to endure, so that now the legend of thy life is full, and thy charge is accomplished. Again, how many truly good things have certainly by thee been discerned? How many pleasures, how many pains hast thou passed over with contempt? How many things eternally glorious hast thou despised? Towards how many perverse, unreasonable men hast thou carried thyself kindly and discreetly? Why should imprudent, unlearned souls trouble that which is both learned and prudent? And which is that is so? She that understandeth the beginning and the end, and hath the true knowledge of that rational essence that passeth through all things subsisting, and through all ages being ever the same, disposing and dispensing as it were this universe by certain periods of time. Within a very little while thou wilt be either ashes or a solitum, and a name perchance, and perchance not so much as a name. And what is that but an empty sound and a rebounding echo? Those things which in this life are dearest unto us and of most account, they are in themselves but vain, putrid, contemptible, the most weighty and serious, if rightly esteemed, but as puppies, biting one another, or untoward children, now laughing and then crying, as for faith and modesty and justice and truth, they long since, as one of the poets hath it, have abandoned this spacious earth, and retired themselves unto heaven. What is it then that doth keep thee here, if things sensible be so mutable and unsettled, and the senses so obscure and so fallible, and our souls nothing but an exhalation of blood, and to be in credit among such be but vanity? What is it that thou dost stay for? An extinction or a translation, either of them, with a propitious and contented mind. But still that time come, what will content thee? What else but to worship and praise the gods, and to do good unto men, to bear with them, and to forbear to do them any wrong, and for all external things belonging either to this thy wretched body or life, to remember that they are neither thine nor in thy power. Thou mayest always speed, if thou wilt but make choice of the right way. If in the course both of thine opinions and actions thou wilt observe a true method, these two things be common to the souls, as of God, so of men, and of every reasonable creature. First, that in their own proper work they cannot be hindered by anything. Then secondly, that their happiness doth consist in a disposition to, and in the practice of righteousness, and that in these their desire is terminated. If this neither be my wicked act, nor an act anyways depending from any wickedness of mine, and that by it the public is not hurt, what doth it concern me? And wherein can the public be hurt? For thou must not altogether be carried by conceit and common opinion. As for help, thou must afford that unto them after thy best ability, and as occasion shall require, though they sustain damage, but in these middle or worldly things. But however, do not thou conceive that they are truly hurt thereby, for that is not right, but as that old foster father in the comedy, being now to take his leave, doth with a great deal of ceremony require his foster child's rhombus or rattletop, remembering nevertheless that it is but a rhombus. So here also do thou likewise. For indeed, what is all this pleading and public bawling for at the courts? O man, hast thou forgotten what those things are? Yea, but they are things that others much care for and highly esteem of. Wilt thou therefore be a fool too? Once I was. Let that suffice. Let death surprise me when it will, and where it will I may be a Tomohurus, or a happy man. Nevertheless, for he is a happy man, who in his lifetime dealeth unto himself a happy lot and portion. A happy lot and portion is good inclinations of the soul, good desires, good actions,